Good morning, everyone. It's Sal, Stretford Post. How you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. Thank you for joining me this morning. It was a late night last night, of course. We were up until the early dawn, up until the early evening, should I say, watching that England game. England went to penalty shootouts and won only their third, I think it was their third penalty shootout in 30 years. In 30 years. So when it went to penalty shootouts, we thought England would lose, didn't we? But they look like they've been practicing. They scored all their penalties. Switzerland missed one, and England went through. Switzerland will feel hard done by it. Felt that Switzerland were better in the extra time period. They were a better team. England were very tactically inept as usual, with Gareth Southgate in charge. So of course. England went through anyway, and we are here live. Let me just set up this for you. Very happy you can join me today, this fine morning. It's my last day in the Middle East. I'll be flying out back to Europe tonight. I'll be back though, and yeah, I'll be back. I'll be doing the streams. I'll be trying my best to get you some streams in. I'll be trying my best. Of course, I'll be trying, and yeah. We will keep Breaking Dawn and we keep Chatterbox going whilst I am on my travels. So yeah, got to see the in-laws. You know what you have to do. Good morning, Kenny. Good morning, Tony. What's going on? You guys are the best. Thank you for joining me this morning. Kenny, big up. Yeah, Rico. Yeah, I'm going to speak about that, of course. The Brentford man is wanted. I wouldn't be opposed to it. We do need another left back, of course. Tony. Good morning, Tony. How you doing? Thank you, mate. Keeping it going, keeping it moving. I'm absolutely shattered. I'm lampshaded, as they say. Absolutely lampshaded. It's funny, isn't it? When you're tired, you can say anything. You can say anything you want. You can say, I'm absolutely tableclothed. I'm absolutely dining tabled, you know. You know what I mean, don't you? It means I'm absolutely shattered. I'm absolutely, what else can we say? Absolutely lawn mowed. Yeah, because last night England took it out of me, unfortunately. Took it a lot out of me, and these games, I couldn't even cover the next game. I couldn't cover the Netherlands game. It was just too much for me to handle. I believe that Netherlands went through, and Netherlands will play England, right? Let me just double check that in case Turkey did equalise in the last minute. It's unfortunate for Turkey though. Turkey done very, very well. Very well. Very impressed with Turkey, to be honest with you. Played the best football in my opinion, but they scored an own goal and I think they went out, didn't they? So sadly, that's the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately, in sports. Alright, let's have a look at this. What happened yesterday? Yeah, it was full-time. Turkey 2, Netherlands 2, Turkey 1. I was rooting for Turkey. But England will play Netherlands. I believe England will play Netherlands on, let's have a look, Wednesday. England will play Netherlands on Wednesday, and we'll be up for that game. Now, Manchester United have been inquiring about the possibility of Rico Henry from Brentford coming to the club. Obviously, Manchester United need another left back. There's been a few left backs that we've been linked with, of course. Of course, we've been linked with Gutierrez recently. Gutierrez, who's said to be very, very highly favoured by Eric Ten Hag. He's actually said he's obsessed with Gutierrez. Miguel Gutierrez, who currently plays for Girona, co-owned by Real Madrid. He's been interested. But Manchester United have inquired about the possibility of Rico Henry. Rico Henry, of course, plays for Brentford, has Premier League experience. And Ineos have been interested in players, in particular players who have Premier League experience. Rico Henry is a very talented individual. I'm surprised he didn't get the call up from England. Of course, it's absolutely madness that a player like Rico Henry didn't get called up when England had no left backs. I don't know if you watched the game yesterday. Luke Shaw of Manchester United was playing. Luke Shaw looked heavily out of shape. He did. He hasn't played since February. He looked really slow. But of course, it's only good news for Man United that he plays a few minutes, he gets his fitness back up and running. But yeah, it did add a bit of more stability to England's balance, of course, because he is a left back rather than playing a right back at a left back, and that's the problem England have been having. But Man United have been after Rico Henry and been inquiring about the possibility about Rico Henry. Now, Rico Henry emerged as a talent this season, last season in particular, played very well. I believe he got called up to the England squad once. Didn't get called up again with whatever reason. That's Gareth Southgate for you. But he's a very talented individual, I believe. I believe he's a very talented individual and very underrated. Issue is, of course, being from the Premier League. Premier League have their tax. They called it the Premier League tax. So Premier League money is much more than La Liga money, for example. Like, for example, Rico Williams wouldn't go less for 40, 50 million. Whereas you could probably pick up Gutierrez for 27 to 35 million, something like that, a younger player. But Rico Henry would go for about 40 million. Is that a stumbling block? Will that be a stumbling block, do you think? I like the player. I personally believe we do need a left back. I'm not sure about Luke Shaw. Looks in shape. I know he could get in shape, but Luke Shaw, it gives me the air of a player who's going to get injured again. You know, in 10 years, he's missed like, what was it, 60% of football? It's crazy, isn't it? Of course, he had that major injury in 2014 when we played PSG, snapped his leg in half, of course, and he did very well to come back. His leg almost had to get amputated. We have to remember that. You know, of course, came back, scored in the final of the Euros against Italy that time. You know, but he been on and off injured for Man United for the past few years, and we do need cover in that position. You know, so it's important that we give him the benefit of the doubt, but we have a replacement there. Tyrone Malacia, of course, is also one of a bit of a mystery really with Tyrone Malacia. There was some crazy rumours going on with Tyrone Malacia that he was kidnapped. He passed away. Ridiculous rumours because he just went missing, didn't he, last season? No one saw him. There was actually real rumours going on. You know, let me just. Saw myself out. Yeah, so there was actually real rumours going on that there was issues with him personally, and he's been, you know, the worst one obviously was that he's been kidnapped and, you know, he's passed away and all that rubbish in between, of course. So Manchester United have been interested in Rico Williams. Not Rico Williams. We wish it was Rico Williams. Rico Henry. We have been interested in. So what do you think of Rico Henry, guys? Tony, Kenny, I know you haven't heard from him in a long time, but he's a very good player. It would be a decent backup for Luke Shaw. I would be happy with him. Of course, I'd be happy with Gutierrez as well. Gutierrez is another player that I would be very happy with. We do need to look for left backs across the board, across the world. We do need to look for left backs, and in particular, if some of our players leave. Of course, time is ticking and still no deals have been done. At the moment, it's all talk. It's all like hearsay. Nothing concrete has happened. Only rumours are happening at the moment. Nothing has been confirmed yet. At the moment, we're linked with a different player every single day, and it's beginning to look a bit, you know, concerning. I'm still cautiously optimistic about everything, about the transfers and about how this window would go. I'm cautiously optimistic about having our players through the door before the pre-season as well. I really hope so, that we have these players through the door. Because if we don't have the players through the door, it's going to be another scenario like we have for the last few seasons, that we're not going to be ready for the first game against Fulham, are we? Our first game against Rosenborg in the pre-season is on the 15th of July this month. So we're off to Norway on the 15th of July, and we will be playing a friendly against Rosenborg. But now we haven't got any players in, so it is a little bit concerning as time is ticking away. Hopefully by the next week or so, 10 days I'll give them at maximum, we have at least a couple of players through the door. I ideally wanted all our players through the door, but obviously it's not possible. I'm asking for too much. Of course I'm asking for too much, but you know, we can only dream, we can only act like a big club. We have mentality of a big club. I remember United used to get their deals done quite early. Well, not always early. We used to get like deals done during the season. Dwight York was one famous one. Dwight York, of course, I speak to on the often. We signed him during the season, the 1998-99 season when we won the treble. We signed Dwight York 2 games, I believe, into the season. And he wanted to go to Man United, and he ended up going to Man United, and the rest is history. Became a legend, and you know, played in that iconic Man United side that won the treble, one of the greatest football teams of all time, of course. Now, João Neves, of course, of Benfica, a young player who has been in the squad at Portugal. Didn't really get much chance under, we call him Roberto Southgate. Well, his name's Roberto Martinez, but we call him Roberto Southgate. Of course, Roberto Martinez, famously known for introducing La Liga, Revista de la Liga on Sky Sports for so many years. That's what I know him as. I don't know him as a world-class manager. I know him as the guy who presented Revista de la Liga on Sky, hosting Spanish football. But anyway, in all seriousness, let's say this, right? Roberto Martinez did not pick João Neves at all during that tournament. Kind of unfair, considering he had a great season. Now, I think he kept picking the wrong players. He kept picking the same players. He kept picking, what's his name? Ruben Neves of Wolves, of course. He never wanted to give him a chance. He reminds me a lot of Gareth Southgate. In fact, worse. He's worse than Gareth Southgate because he doesn't. He's so hesitant at substitutions. He makes the same substitutions. He's very predictable. Now, of course, Belgium got knocked out. Of course, Portugal got knocked out by France the other day. They went out with a whimper, in all honesty, no real opportunities, didn't really take a risk. You know, when it gets to about 5 minutes to go and you're losing the game, you have to throw the bus, you have to throw the sink, you have to throw, you have to throw the bread, you have to throw everything at the goal. You have to try and score a goal. Even if you've got 10 players up front, you have to try and score a goal. And of course, Gareth Southgate did learn from that in the game against Slovakia when he scored a goal. And Bellingham, of course, Jude Bellingham scored that overhead kick, which will be remembered forever, one of the greatest goals in European Championship history. In the 95th minute, he scored. And that was because Gareth Southgate threw players at the Slovakian goal during 90 minutes. He was late with his substitutions, but that's the reason you get into it. But you take a risk. He who dares wins. Sir Alex Ferguson used to do the same. Sir Alex Ferguson used to throw everything at the goal, no matter what. If he could put on fans on the pitch, he would. Just as long as we have players up front. Man United have been 3-1 down against Newcastle on the 86th minute and won 4-3. That's the difference. You have to try. You have to. He who dares wins. Winners take risks. If you don't take risks, you don't win. So aside from the international scene, Manchester United are interested, of course, in Neves. Neves, of course, is a young player who plays for Benfica. The only issue is his €100 million release clause. Manchester United are reluctant to pay that much, so in the past have offered Greenwood to Benfica. Would Greenwood go to Benfica is another story completely. Of course, going to Portugal is a lovely thing. If you want to go to Lisbon, it's a lovely thing. Of course, Benfica is a big club. I've been in the wilderness for a while, but would Mason Greenwood go to Benfica? Of course, Mason Greenwood, we've been trying to flog off, obviously, since the issues with his missus. But I don't know whether Greenwood will go to this Portuguese league. Portuguese league is not renowned for being one of the best leagues in the world, but playing for Benfica is a good thing. It's a lovely country, and it is a place that he could develop. They do have a good conveyor belt of youth coming through, and I believe that he will do well there. But we either have to pay that 100 million release clause, or we do a swap deal or some kind of deal with Benfica. João Neves has openly said he wants to leave Benfica and he wants a transfer. Now, we have to move swiftly because he has interested the likes of PSG, and PSG, we know what they're like, and of course, Manchester City. Manchester City are also lurking in the background. Manchester City 115, of course, have 115 charges against their name, and they could be 116 if they sign Neves, because what the hell, 116 is no different to 115, so they might as well do 116. Yeah, you might as well have 116 charges and 115 charges. Don't you? So we have to watch out for Manchester City, and we have to try and sign Neves whilst we can. We have to try and get hold of Neves whilst we can. We have to throw the sink at Benfica and try and get Neves through the door, even if we have to do a swap deal. I know swap deals are always difficult. Swap deals, you have to deal with agents and stuff. You have to deal with agreements between players. It's a lot. It's very complicated, more complicated than it seems. But Mason Greenwood would do well at Benfica, and João Neves coming the other way would be ideal. It would be killing two birds with one stone, wouldn't it, as they say? But I doubt that will happen. I doubt Greenwood will go to Benfica. I believe Greenwood could be going to Marseille. Also Lazio. Lazio are desperate for Mason Greenwood. Lazio don't give a toss about his charges or anything. Of course, it's Rome. When in Rome, do what the Romans do, as they say. They don't care. They want Mason Greenwood, and they're willing to pay up for Mason Greenwood, even though it's 17.5 million euros, which is an absolute disgrace of an offer from Lazio. Lazio, you're disgraceful for that offer. That was very poor from you. I expected better. And they wanted a 10% sell-on clause. So when they sell Greenwood, they get 10% of the transfer fee. Oh, goodness me. They needed to be a bit more serious than that. But rumour is Lazio have come in with a second offer. So let's see what their second offer is. Let's see what they can offer. Let's see if Lazio could get Mason Greenwood through the door. Of course, Lazio are no stranger to bringing English players in. They had the famous Paul Gascoigne, Gaza, as they say, world-class player, one of the greatest players of all time. Problem with Gascoigne, he was not serious. He loved the chocolate eggs, as we all love chocolate eggs. Especially at Easter, we love chocolate eggs. He loves chocolate eggs. And I remember watching Serie A football on Channel 4 when I was a kid. Because that's all we had. You had 4 channels in England. One channel, BBC 1, BBC 2, ITV, Channel 4. And later on we had Channel 5, which came about mid-90s. So we had Channel 4, and Serie A football came on Gazzetta dello Sport with what's his host? I've forgotten his name. Anyway, he used to have the Gazzetta dello Sport, and he used to go, buongiorno, blah, blah, blah. An English guy, a really good presenter. And he used to take us through the news on the Gazzetta dello Sport, and show us what's going on, the latest news in Italy, blah, blah, blah. And I remember when Gaza signed for Lazio, of course, was one of the greatest players of the world, Gaza. Problem is, he loved the kebab. England, when it was golden goal, when we used to go to extra time and it used to be golden goal, do you remember? The European Championships of 1996, Germany won, England won. We go into extra time, it is golden goal. That means if you score, you go through. The ball came across. Gaza missed the ball for a tap-in by a fingertip. And famously he said if he didn't have that kebab the night before, he would have got that ball and England would have won the European Championship. Most likely they would have went to the final and they would have played the Czech Republic, which they would have won. Of course, hypothetically and hypotheticals and all that, but Germany did end up winning the tournament and ended up beating Czech Republic because they beat England on penalties, of course. And who missed the penalty? The vital penalty for England? You know, Gareth Southgate. We know Gareth Southgate. He's a thorn in our side. He's a prickle in our garden. You know, he's a pain in the backside. I know Gareth Southgate very well. He's full of pain. Of course, Cantona famously stepped on Gareth Southgate, didn't he? He famously gave him a kick. He kicked him in the chest when he was on the floor. Do you remember that? That's what Gareth Southgate's famous for. Being kicked by Eric Cantona. That's it. Claim to fame. Gareth Southgate missed that penalty in 1996. He went on the advert, Pizza Hut advert, and he made a funny advert about it, mocking it. You know, he should have just went into hiding because it was absolutely pathetic, Gareth Southgate. Anyway, let's forget about Gareth Southgate. We don't want to get into the depressing stuff. Of course, I'm taking it down memory lane. I do take it down memory lane sometimes. I take it back. I've been watching football for close to 4 decades now. So I've got a lot of memories and I've got a lot of things and bones to pick about the past and all that. But anyway, Lazio are interested in Mason Greenwood, and Lazio would be a good move for Greenwood. Playing in Serie A, you know, it's a good league, and of course he could develop there. He could become a cult hero there. But also, Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho could be off to Juventus. He could be going another English player, another player who's had these problems. He had these problems with Ten Hag last season. He wrote the tweet on Twitter, and he, had these issues. He went to Dortmund on loan last season. He was sent on Dortmund on loan last season. But he could be off to Juventus. Of course, Jadon Sancho is a very talented player, but it hasn't quite worked out for him at Manchester United since he signed from Dortmund for a ridiculous amount of money, 19 million, I think it was. And he hasn't done too well. He's lost his place in the England side, of course, hasn't been playing. And Juventus would be a good move for him. It would be good to rekindle his career. But no news on Jadon Sancho at the moment, but I suspect anything could happen in the next week or so, as well as Greenwood, because we do need to get a move on. We do need to raise money for the FFP. Of course, we don't have no money. We don't have an American Express. We don't have nothing. Right, Manchester United, of course, let's go back to João Neves. Manchester United are very interested in João Neves, and I feel it's important, very important, that we prevent João Neves from going to Manchester City, because he will suit Manchester City down to the ground. He's the type of player that they do buy. If he's given in the transfer request, it means he's unhappy. That's the time to push. That's the time to go for it. And that's the time to try and sign João Neves, of course. Now, nothing in regards to Branthwaite. Branthwaite, of course, Branthwaite is an Everton player, England international. Did not get in the squad, obviously, because Gareth Southgate is Prattgate. So he didn't pick him again. And Branthwaite, Jared Branthwaite wants to move to Manchester United. Branthwaite, I would be very delighted with the signing. Very young player, plays on the left side of defence. But the problem is his price tag, 67 million. They call it English tax, because English players are overpriced. So that he's worth 60, 70 million apparently for Everton. And for Everton, the sticky toffees, as they call them, the toffees, it is a sticky situation for Manchester United, because they don't want to sign Jared Braithwaite for 60, 70 million. That is ridiculous. That is completely ridiculous when you can go to Europe and you can sign a player for half that price, probably the same amount of talent as well. So Manchester United are still interested in Jared Braithwaite. But Manchester United are not showing their hand, and they're not going to be held to ransom, as they say. Never going to be held to ransom, Manchester United. They never have been held to ransom until the last day of the transfer window, when they end up overpaying. They end up paying 120 for Jared Braithwaite. That's what's going to happen, isn't it? Because we were run by clowns for the last 15 years. So we always get not serious. We always get these not serious transfers coming through the door for not serious prices. Ridiculous, and. We made a mess of it over the last 10 years, and we need to look at João Neves, and we need to try and work out a deal with Benfica. Of course, Manchester United have a good relationship with Benfica. They have a good relationship with Sporting Lisbon as well. We have sort of soured our relationships recently. The way we've been run, we've been disrespectful. We haven't acted like Manchester United. We haven't acted like a club who is serious. Now. I said a couple of days ago, Manchester United are interested in Ignacio, who plays for Sporting Lisbon, and a central defender who can play in the left centre back, who can play in the right centre back. A very good player. He is the rope to fallen for Manchester United if Jared Braithwaite doesn't go through the door. If he doesn't go through the door, Ignacio will be coming through the door. He'll be coming through the back door, whatever you like. No discrimination, but he'll be coming through the door regardless. Right, so Ignacio, who plays for Sporting Lisbon, 19 years old, 6'1", good size, good player, will cost a fraction of what Jared Braithwaite would cost. We could probably say 30 million. 30 million, you could put it in the back pocket and run 30 million. So we can get Ignacio through the door. That Gonzalo Ignacio is a very talented player. Also, Manchester United have sent scouts out to Atalanta. Atalanta are a very well-run Italian club, of course, Bergamo, of course, and they are a very well-run club. They sign players on the cheap, they build players, and they won one of the major European trophies, the Conference League last season, defeating Leverkusen. Leverkusen, of course, who were unbeaten in the Bundesliga last season. Leverkusen, who beat Bayern Munich to the title. Bayern Munich have won the league in the last 10 consecutive seasons. And Leverkusen came out of nowhere with Alonso as manager and won the league. Atalanta defeated Leverkusen 3-0 in the final of the European Conference League. Of course, there's only 3 cups. We have the Champions League, we have the Europa League, then we have the Conference League. For Atalanta to win the Conference League was a huge achievement. So Manchester United are exploring the reasons behind their success, and their scouts, of course. Their scouting is excellent, of course. They have, of course, been interested in the midfielder. Is it Ederson? They've been interested in that midfielder. The Brazilian midfielder, of course, has been very, very sought after for Manchester United. Very good player, of course, but it's gone quiet on his front. I haven't heard anything in regards to him. Of course, there's a few players at Atalanta. Shimika, of course, a striker, is brilliant as well. A great striker, plays for Italy. Scored a lot of goals. He will be another one to look into. Of course, United signed Ahmad from Atalanta a couple of seasons ago, and Ahmad impressed us every time he came on last season. Now, Manchester United do need to get the gear in hand. They need to go up a gear. They need to start moving quickly because we have not signed anyone and we have not released anyone. So this is becoming a concerning issue. Of course, the news today is Rico Henry of Brentford. Rico Henry, of course, is a very good left back, and we should explore avenues for these players. Miguel Gutierrez as well, of course, he's another one, but can be complicated because he's co-owned by Real Madrid, currently playing at Girona. And Branthwaite. So Branthwaite as well is another one that we're after. Now, Matthijs de Ligt has become disheartened at the lack of opportunities for Holland and has been training separately. Matthijs de Ligt, of course, is interesting Manchester United and looks to be Manchester United's first signing for the club. Could be going through the door once Holland are knocked out by England, we hope. Holland will be coming back, and so will De Ligt. De Ligt will be coming back to Manchester, hopefully. So De Ligt could be signing for Manchester United from Bayern Munich for a fee of 42 million euros. Pounds for 50 million euros. So Manchester United could be signing De Ligt. Of course, he's had a lot of criticism over the last few days. Andy Cole, ex-Man United striker, legend, of course, played alongside Dwight York in 98-99. Andy Cole has said that he doesn't believe that players who leave clubs, who leave for less money, of course, De Ligt played for Juventus and then signing from Ajax for a substantial amount. Juventus sold him, he didn't work out at Juventus, had injuries, etc. He ended up going to Bayern Munich, and he hasn't worked out at Bayern Munich either. So Manchester United signing De Ligt for cheaper, and he's been going for cheaper every club he's been to, is a good point by Andy Cole, of course. Andy Cole said that if a player leaves a club, multiple clubs, and his price decreases every time he leaves the club, it shows more about the player, and for people, Man United should really bear that in mind. Now, I don't judge players based on what they did at other clubs. I remember Eric Cantona was famously said that he would never play for France again. He would never. He obviously kicked a Turkish fan in Galatasaray. He kicked a Crystal Palace fan at Selhurst Park. And he's there's players who've done things at other clubs and players who've done things at Man United, like Eric Cantona, for example. A long list of things that it would never work out. Of course, ended up being one of our best players of all time. So we have to bear that in mind. Not everything is black and white. Not everything is multi-layered. You have to look at it from a multi-layered point of view. Everyone's circumstances are different. De Ligt, it hasn't worked out for him at Bayern Munich. It hasn't worked out for him at Juventus, but it might work out for him at Man United under Erik ten Hag's stewardship. Of course, Erik ten Hag has worked with Matthijs de Ligt, and I would like Matthijs de Ligt to sign. It would be an upgrade to what we have at the moment. Of course, Johnny Evans has done really well. 36-year-old Johnny Evans done really well last season. He was brought in on a free transfer, and he became one of our players of the season. One of the shocks of the season, of course, Johnny Evans, who played for Man United 10 years ago, was a substitute back then as well behind Nemanja Vidic and Rio Ferdinand. But did really well coming in as Man United backup last season. We had an endless amount of injuries, and he even played when he was injured. Of course, so applaud Johnny Evans. I'm very happy he's been given a new contract, fully deserved. We need players who wear their heart on their sleeve, like Johnny Evans. Really good pro. I'm really proud of Johnny Evans. If we bring in Matthijs de Ligt, it'll be a good backup for Johnny Evans, of course, as well. So bringing in Matthijs de Ligt, and of course we need a left-sided centre-back. Jared Branthwaite is another one. Of course, we do sound like a record playing over and over again, but these are the players we are after, and there will be some news. There's no smoke without fire. Of course, there will be some news pretty soon. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure within a week you will see much more clearer. And the names I am mentioning, at least 50% of them will be coming through the door. We need a left back. We need a centre back. 2 centre backs. We need a centre midfielder. We need maybe a right winger, and we need a striker. Desperately. So we've got a lot of work to do. We got Greenwood. We've obviously got Sancho there. We got Pellistri there. We got Casemiro there. We got Wan-Bissaka there. We got Maguire there. We got Lindelof there. Still, and anything in between, Anthony, Rashford as well. So we got a lot of players we need to sort out and we need to get rid of. This is becoming a bit of a squeeze, isn't it? Now, what is the date today? Today is the 7th of July. The 7th of July, and nothing has happened. We need to get a move on. We do need to get a move on. We need to move quickly and swiftly. Guys, what do you think of that? What do you think of that? What are your thoughts on what I'm saying about transfers and players in, players out? Is there anyone I haven't mentioned that you would like at Manchester United? Are there any players that are on your radar? Now, of course, we call it silly season. It is July, but of course, the European Championships are going on. England have reached the semi-final of the European Championships after an excellent penalty shootout win. It has to be said, the penalties were absolutely brilliant. Of course, England have lost a lot of penalty shootouts. They've lost about, I don't know, 15. They've won 2 out of 15 or something like that, or whatever I can remember. I can't remember, but it seems a lot. But 40 years, in 40 years, England have won 3 penalty shootouts, I believe. They won against Spain in 1996. They won against Colombia in 2018. I cannot remember any more penalty shootouts that England have won to be. Yes, and obviously last night. 3 penalty shootouts in 40 years. I remember them losing to Germany in 1990. I remember them losing to Germany in 1996. I remember them losing twice to Portugal in 2000 and in 2004 and 2006. I remember England losing a penalty shootout to Italy. You know, there's been many penalty shootouts that England have sadly lost over the years. Of course, 1998 was a famous one when Beckham got sent off and England ended up losing on penalties. No one mentions the penalties. They were terrible. Paul Ince and David Batty took very terrible penalties, absolutely atrocious penalties. Of course, 1996 was Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate missed the penalty. But England's penalties last night were absolutely brilliant. Calmness personified. I absolutely loved Tony's penalty. It was absolutely brilliant. So calm in a situation like that. With the England fans behind him, it was absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed that, of course. Of course, Kobe Mainoo played yesterday. Kobe Mainoo was man of the match, in my opinion, for much of that game. And sadly taken off. Of course, England had to go a bit more attacking. Of course, they were losing. They needed to win that game, and they were losing the game on the 75th minute. So I guess if anything comes out of that game in regards to England, it is spirit. They showed a no die spirit when Switzerland went ahead. They showed a never say die spirit, which is good. But it is very concerning that England must raise the levels if they stand a chance of beating the Netherlands. If England beat the Netherlands, they will be going to their 2nd European Championship final in a row. What an achievement. You have to admit it's an achievement regardless. Now, will they get it over the line? Can they beat a Spain? Can they really beat a Spain? Can they? You know, can they beat a France? It remains to be seen, doesn't it? But England do need to raise the levels tenfold. They need to raise the levels 100%. But England must first beat Netherlands. Netherlands, of course, who got defeated by Austria in this tournament, haven't been great. We were kind of lucky yesterday, and I haven't been that impressed. Ronald Koeman had a terrible time at Everton. If you remember Jose Mourinho saying that Ronald Koeman has the worst record in Premier League history. Of course, he was tongue-in-cheek. It was tongue-in-cheek, but he had a point. Ronald Koeman didn't do well at Everton. Now, guys, Kenny, Tony, thank you so much for joining me today. I will try my best to be live for Chatterbox. I'll be trying my best to be live tomorrow morning. I am flying off to Italy via Istanbul tonight. So I will be trying to fit in these podcasts. Keep liking the videos, keep subscribing, keep spreading the word. We're a family, we're a community. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for joining me this Sunday. Of course, Sunday's quiet day, but it is a little bit murmurs of news. Of course, João Neves and Rico Henry have emerged as targets for Manchester United. Rico Henry is a new one. He's a new one on the list of players that we are after. Of course, a very good left back, and I'll be very happy with a signing like Rico Henry with Premier League experience. I like his mentality. Very good player. So that's Sal Warner. That's Breaking Dawn. That's Stretford Post. Don't forget to follow Stretford Post on @StretfordPost, where I'll be tweeting all my feelings, all my personal feelings, blah, 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 scattered out on the Twitter feed or the X feed, whatever you want to call it, for you to all digest. Now, I would also have the morning after. The morning after is a blog that I write after every Manchester United game. I write a blog called The Morning After. If it's a Man United game or an England game, the morning after will be coming back to Twitter next season. Of course, I will be writing more of my emotional thoughts on Manchester United. And of course, I hope it's a better season for Manchester United next season. Of course, Ten Hag with a 1-year extension. I hope he makes a lot of journalists, a lot of Ten Hag outers swallow their words, swallow their pride, and hopefully they will take the opportunity to say, I was wrong. I hope so. I hope so. And I hope it's a good season for Manchester United next season. Of course, a lot of exciting news, but nothing is concrete. We don't believe everything we say. You cannot believe everything you hear. Of course, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because at the moment we have heard a lot of noise. Over the last 10, 15 years, 20 years, we have heard a lot of rubbish, and we've heard a lot of noise, and which has never come into fruition, of course. So we take everything with a pinch of salt. We hope upon hope that Ineos are different, and we hope that Ineos do live up to their words. Of course, they've spoken a lot over the last few weeks and months. It's time for action. Of course, we've heard things about Ineos. We've heard that they talk a lot, but never anything happens. We've heard from fans of Nice. We've heard of ex-players from Nice. We don't take everyone's word for gospel. We don't believe everyone, but of course we have to keep it in mind. We have to have it in the back of our heads that, this could be a disappointing summer. But there are a lot of positive noises. Of course, we have brought in some positive names at the backroom staff. The backroom staff, of course, won't cost much, so we can't really read into that. That isn't much of a commitment. Rene Hake and Ruud van Nistelrooy is a good appointment. Of course, I know that Erik ten Hag had a huge deal to play in that. Of course, the backroom staff of Wilcox, Berrada, of course, is good. The recruitment agent, Vivian, is good as well. Alexander Vivian, I think his name is another one. Vivel is another one that is good. He's obviously a temporary man coming in for recruitment, because Manchester United do need a lot of work doing in and out, of course, in and out, and we shake it all about. Manchester United do need a lot of work to do. Guys, it's going to be a roller coaster of emotions this window. This next few months is going to be an absolute craze. We're going to hear a lot of noise. You're going to see a lot of my face. We're going to be going online, etc. I will be keeping you updated in regards to my travels. I will be arriving in Italy very soon, Napoli to be exact. So I will be there, and I will be bringing you the news from over there. And I hope you guys can join me. Thank you those regulars who join me. You guys are the best. Thank you when you are part of this community that we are slowly building. We are getting there. Numbers are building slowly but surely. But you are the originals. You are the elites. I love you all, guys. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. And we will still bring you the news over the next coming days. And I'm sure it is going to be a very, very important week ahead and a very, very important 10 days. Of course, we have the European Championships going on. England and Holland are still in the European Championships. Of course, there's Matthias de Ligt is still with Holland, of course, and it's the semi-final stage. So it is nearly the end. We're nearing the end. It's the semi-final, then we're going to the final. So guys, thank you so much for joining me this morning, this Sunday morning. You could be anywhere, you could be at church, but you're here with me. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon. I'm Sal Warner, this is Breaking Dawn and Stretford Post. Thank you so much. Don't forget to follow me on Stretford Post. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Share it to your mates, share it to your family and friends and your loved ones. Stretford Post, Breaking Dawn. I'm here. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Stretford Post, TikTok @ Stretford Post, and Instagram at Stretford Post. Guys, you have a beautiful Sunday. Enjoy the rest. There's no football today. There's no watch-alongs. Enjoy the rest. Enjoy your day. Have a nice roast dinner. Three roast potatoes. A couple of Brussels sprouts. You know how it goes. It's Sunday. Sunday roast. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy your day. I'm Sal Warner. Take it easy. Peace.